Okay, I'm back. Just took Skylar for a walk. Sunny out. She's looking over at me. Skylar, say hi. Skylar, the wonder dog, the wonder dog, the wonder dog. Yeah. You're not supposed to be up on your sofa. Paws down. Paws down. So anyway, it's sunny out, but it's really freaking cold. It's not snowing here in Baltimore, but it's snowing places near here like Massachusetts. Ah, don't do that. Skylar. Sometimes she's nasty and tries to get a little coochie rub with my foot. Sicko. Okay, so I'm going to read History of the Chakra System. Let me tell you something for anybody who's listening or watching. And even if no one is, I'm talking to myself just as much as anybody else, if not myself the most. I'm also inviting Bodhi into this healing channel because I miss him something awful. And my daughter. But I had a really good visit with her last night through Zoom, so that was cool. But what I was going to say is, I'm not an expert on chakras. I know probably more than most. Well, not most. That's not even true. I know more than than a handful of my friends or my close acquaintances. And I know that it's helped me in the past. So I'm like learning as I go. So hopefully we'll see the results as they're activated inside of me, and hopefully it will inspire others. Anyway, this is called History of the Chakra System. Hope I'm talking loud enough. I want to be mindful. My niece is downstairs resting. It is wonderful that the chakras and archetypal, I'm probably saying that wrong, components of consciousness are finally gaining prominence in the collective mindset, with more books and references than ever before. While this popularity is making the chakras a household word, it is also spreading a lot of confusing and conflicting information. It is important to realize the chakras come from an ancient tradition, which many New Age teachers have barely explored. Here's a brief summary of the chakra system's historical development for those who have an interest in its origin. If you don't have an interest, feel free to skip to the next section. Well, I definitely have an interest, and I think it's rather valuable information to know. It's kind of like anthropology, you know? You learn about how people become the way they are by their history and their roots and their ancestors. Well, it works for exploration and healing as well. I think it's just as significant. The chakras are inextricably linked with the science and practice of yoga. The word yoga means yoke, and it is a system of philosophy and practice designed to yoke the mortal self to its divine nature of pure consciousness. The origin of yoga and earliest mention of the chakras goes back to the Vedas, meaning knowledge, a series of hymns that are the oldest written tradition in India. These writings were created from an even older oral tradition of the Aryan culture, believed to be an invading Indo-European tribe that swept into India during the 2nd millennium BCE. When the Aryans were said to have entered India on chariots, and the original meaning of the word chakra as wheel refers to the chariot wheels of the invading Aryans. The correct spelling from Sanskrit is actually Chakra, though pronounced with a CH, as in church, hence the English spelling chakra. The word was also a metaphor for the sun, the great wheel that rolls across the sky like a blazing chariot of a Chakravartin, Chakravartin, the name for the Aryan chariot rulers. The wheel also denotes the internal cycle of time called the Kalachakra. Kalachakra. In this way, the wheel represents celestial order and balance. One further meaning is that a chakra is a titanic circle of worshippers. It is said that the Chakravartins were preceded by a glowing golden disc of light, much like the halo of Christ. Only this spinning disc was seen in front of them, perhaps their powerful third chakras. Third chakras. No, that's your heart chakra, right? Well, I forget. I think your third chakra is your third eye chakra. I don't know. We're going to find out what they're talking about. The birth of the Chakravartin was said to herald a new age, and it could be this time period that marked the drawing of the third chakra era of human history. It is also said that the god Vishnu descended to earth, having in his 4 arms a chakra, a lotus, a flower, a club, and a conch shell. This may also have referred to a chakra as a discus-like weapon. Following the Vedas were the Upanishads, or wisdom teaching passed from teacher to disciple. There is some mention of the chakras as psychic centers of consciousness in the Yoga Upanishads. It's Upanishads. And later in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. It is from Patanjali's sutras that we get the classic Eightfold Path of yoga tradition. This tradition was largely dualistic, stating that nature and spirit were separate, and advised ascetic practices in reunification of one's instinctual nature as a way to enlightenment. It was in the non-dual tantric traditions that the chakras and kundalini came to be an integral part of yoga philosophy. The tantric teachings are syncretic weaving of many spiritual traditions of India, which came to popularity during the 6th and 7th century AD in reaction to the dualistic philosophy which preceded it. This tradition advised being in the world rather than separate from it. Tantra is commonly viewed in the West as primarily a sexual tradition, as in Tantrism does put sexuality in a sacred context and regards the body as a sacred temple for consciousness within. Yet this is actually only a small part of a broad philosophy which combines many practices of Hatha and Kundalini yoga, worship of deities, especially of the Hindu goddesses, and focuses on integrating universal forces. The word Tantra literally means loom and denotes a weaving of disparate threads into a tapestry of wholeness. Thus, the chakra system coming out of the Tantric tradition weaves the polarities of spirit and matter, mind and body, masculine and feminine, heaven and earth, into a single philosophy of many philosophical strands, reaching even back to the oral traditions that precede the Vedas. The main text about chakras that has come to us in the West is a translation of tantric texts by the Englishman Arthur Avalon in his book The Serpent Power, published in 1919. Never read that book. These texts, the Chakra Nirupana, written by an Indian Pundit in 1577, and the Padakaka, written in the 10th century, contain descriptions of the chakra centers and related practices. There is also another 10th century text called I'm not going to be able to pronounce this, but I'm going to give it a shot, Gorakashashatagam, which gives instructions for meditating on the chakras. these texts from the basis of our understanding of chakra theories today. In these traditions, there are 7 basic chakras which exist within the subtle body, interpreting the physical body. The subtle body is the non-physical psychic body that is superimposed on our physical bodies. It can be measured as electromagnetic force fields within and around all living creatures. Carolyn photography, for example, has actually photographed the emanations of the subtle body in both plants and animals. In the aura, which the external manifestation of the subtle body, the energy field appears as a soft glow around the physical body, often made of spindle-like fibers. In yoga psychology, the subtle body is derived into 5 sheaths of varying refinement in the subtle body called koshas. I'm going to read that again. In the aura, which is the external manifestation of the subtle body, the energy field appears as a soft glow around the physical body, often made of spindle-like fibers. In yoga psychology, the subtle body is divided into 5 sheaths of varying refinement in the subtle body, called koshas. At the core of the body, the subtle field appears as spinning discs, chakras. The chakras are the psychic generators of the auric field. The aura itself is the meeting point between the core patterns generated by the chakras and the influence of the external world. The aura itself is a meeting point between the core patterns generated by the chakras and the influence of the external world. Through modern physiology, we can see that these 7 chakras are located near the 7 major nerve ganglia and emanate from the spinal column. There are 2 minor chakras mentioned in the ancient texts. The Soma chakra, located just above the 3rd eye, and the Anaconda lotus, which contains the celestial wishing tree, Kalpataru, the heart of the chakra. Some esoteric systems propose 9 or 12 chakras, while other traditions, such as Vajrayana Buddhism, describes only 5 centers. Since chakra is literally a vortex of energy, there is no limit to their number. However, the original 7 master chakras form a profound and elegant system, one that maps logically into the body through the nerve ganglia, yet connects our physical existence to higher and deeper non-physical realms. So here's a picture. See, chakra 6 is at the top right here. Chakra 5, chakra 4, and it goes along the spinal column, C12, C37, 51, or T15. T59 is chakra 3, the solar plexus. Chakra 2 is the sacral plexus, T912. Chakra 1, L15. And chakra 1 and 2. And this says this diagram shows the vertebrae related to the different chakras based on the spinal nerves, which is innervate the ganglia and the various organs. If these vertebrae are damaged in any way, that affects the spinal nerves. The related chakras may be subsequently affected. Mastering the first 7 chakras can easily take a lifetime, and I advise people to work fully with these 7 chakras that relate to the body before undertaking more complex and obscure out-of-body systems. While many interpretations on the chakras advise transcending the lower chakras in favor of the more expansive upper chakras, I do not agree with this philosophy, nor do I believe that this is the intention of the tantric texts. This view arose during a period in history where all the major patriarchal religions advocated the greater importance of the mind over matter, thus denying the existence of the spiritual within the mundane realms. Careful reading of the tantric text does not imply the denial of the lower chakras in favor of the upper chakras, but merely an enfoldment where each higher level is transcendence, which includes and is built on the level below it. In this way, the lower chakras provide a foundation for our spiritual growth, much as the roots of a tree, which push downward, allow the tree to grow taller. We do not help the tree grow taller by pulling up its roots. This will be explored more fully as we explore the significance of the first chakra in the next chapter. So, I'm going to stop this one and do another video probably when I get home from work today, which I'm working today. So the next thing we'll read is systems from other cultures.